Welcome to the podcast.
Don't buy ventriloquist dummies. Don't buy farmhouses. Don't go in the woods. Don't do the laundry. Rules to live by. Don't pick up hitchhikers. You're gonna die. What up, everybody? Welcome to the You Gotta Eat That Crust podcast. I'm your host with the most on the ones and twos. You know they call me Shed Dancing. You know they call me Mount Crushmore. You know they call me Paranormal Padia. It's your boy, Ryan Wilson. And with me tonight, Razor Blade himself, the man who needs no introduction, the king of the mustard smuggle. Call him up. He might give you a snuggle. Seamus Rogers. Seamus, what's good?
What up, guys? What up, listeners?
Also with me tonight, follically challenged himself, the sweatpants overlord, Greg Hoey. What's good, Greg?
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? I'm doing well.
Sick. Love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's October, guys. It's getting cold out. You know, I'm wearing my hoodie in the shed. I can see my breath. So that's reassuring.
It's that time of year again. Summer is over. Football has started. Fur boots are on. And Christmas carols are coming to a radio near you.
Ooh.
To stay in spirit this October, we're bringing you some more hair-raising and spoopy ghost stories. So grab your hard cider or your pumpkin spice beverage, get comfortable, and enjoy these ghost stories as a tie into this Halloween season.
Yeah. Love me some October. Killing it right now.
I love this weather.
I am not liking it.
I don't like it either.
It's cold,
Really?
dark, depressing.
I love waking up in the cold. It's awesome. Have the windows open.
Not me. I don't want to get out of bed.
I am sleeping in a little bit more to like 7:30 instead of like 5:30 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, that's a big difference.
That's huge.
That's going to ruin your life.
I'm hibernating.
So what's the positives of that?
I just like.
I mean, maybe
I
getting more
50s
sleep.
and
That's good.
60s. I know. I just like the 50s. I don't like when it's too hot. High 50s, low 60s, maybe even in the 70s. That's as far as I like to go. I can deal with the 80s, but once it gets to the 90s, no thank you.
Here in New England, we hardly have too hot these days. So I don't know what you're complaining about.
It was just like 85 last week in October.
Yeah, that's perfect.
True. Our summer is only like 45 minutes long.
Right.
I do like the paddleboard. I know Ryan loves the paddleboard and talk about paddleboarding.
We should do a whole series on paddleboards.
I'm in.
Honestly.
Listeners would love that, I think.
I
Let's
think
do
so
it.
too. That's the hard-hitting content that people are waiting for.
That's all people are asking me about on Instagram.
Tell stories of paddleboarding. It's a good one.
Paddleboard overlord.
Once I saw a swan.
Wow.
It's pretty exciting.
It used to be an ugly duckling, though, Greg. Remember that.
It wasn't even a swan. I can't even think of the name of it right now.
Crane.
The black ones that like yell really loud. They're really cool looking.
Oh, the screechers.
No. Is it a loon? I think it's just a loon.
I think you're a bit loony.
Loony. Corey Feldman, my hero.
That's wonderful. All right, well, let's kick this shit off. You know what? If I'm feeling in a good mood right now, I will start. All right? How's that sound?
Do it up.
Scary.
Before I get right into my creepy tales that I have, I want to tell you about two recent ghost encounters we've had at the Oddfellows Tavern. Now, anyone who knows anything about the Oddfellows knows they were this mysterious organization, and they have buildings all over the place. And the one I work in is from like 1800, some shit. Very old building.
I didn't know it was that old.
If you look right above the bar, there's a recessed part of the ceiling, like a big square that comes down. And every Oddfellows building had a human skeleton that would sit in a coffin in their room. And right where that recessed part of the ceiling is, that's where the coffin was in the building. And that's where the skeleton was housed. And
Not morbid at all.
no, to be initiated into the Odd Fellows, you had to spend the night in the room with the skeleton.
So what you're saying is my pizza is tainted.
Can you even do that now? Can you have is there legal skeletons? I mean, like donate to science.
Well, I think they're all fake now, but what was it? Not Jerry Brutus, one of the killers. They made a song about him. He was in Kansas. He was a Kansas killer, but he would sell skeletons that he made from killing people.
Well, yeah, I know that's not legal, but I mean, can I have my great aunt's skeleton in my house if I wanted it?
I feel like she could write that into her will, and that
as long as it was willed to me.
Yeah, it's fucked up, but if that's what you want, I support you. You know. So yeah, well, about the skeletons, before it was well known that the Odd Fellows buildings had these skeletons in them, detectives and police were finding these skeletons with symbols carved into them, and nobody could figure out what it was for. As it turns out, that symbol was a representation, and it was an Odd Fellows skeleton. So the past, I don't know, this summer, per se, 2 experiences. I was in the back room. I'm the only person in the building. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden I hear a female voice go, "Greg?" And I run out to the next room. There's nobody out there. All right. The second thing that happened, every day when my boss comes in, he makes himself a smoothie. All right. Ritual every day. Smoothie.
Greg Katzmeyer?
The Greg Tiberius Sessler.
A little bone marrow mixed in?
Sure. Yeah. To promote strong gums and healthy bones. We're talking, and then we both go to the back room, and he puts his smoothie down, and he comes back out, and he's like, "Ryan, come here." His smoothie is completely flipped upside down. Like, not just spilled over, but the cup was on the lip of the cup all of a sudden. Like, the smoothie was just, frothing out of the bottom of it, and it's just sitting in the pile of frothy smoothie.
So you have a jerk ghost.
Absolutely. So that's just, part of the everyday struggles that I go through.
So next time, you drop a pizza or something, you're like, it was that damn ghost. Flipped it out of my hands.
All right, but here we go. I got a few spoopy tales.
Spoop on it.
This one might be considered more maybe true crime, but there's definitely some really fucked up paranormal elements to it. You guys have probably seen the video even. It's called The Death of Eliza Lamb. Eliza Lamb was last seen January 31st, 2013 in the lobby of the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles.
It's the water tank girl?
Yeah, dude. She was vacationing to the West Coast, documenting the trip on her blog, and checking in with her parents on every day. On January 31st, those calls stopped. Lamb had vanished. Soon the police were involved, and her parents arrived to help with the search. They had nothing. That February, LAPD released the elevator surveillance footage of Lamb before her disappearance. The footage shows Lamb behaving strangely in the elevator, appearing to talk with invisible people, peering around the corner of the door, crouching in the corner, and opening and closing the door. But what exactly is going on in the video raises more questions than answers. Theories range from psychotic episodes to demonic possessions. Around this time, hotel guests started reporting weird things happening with the water supply. The shower was awful. When you turned on the tap, the water was coming out black first for 2 seconds, then it was going back to normal. And the tap water tasted horrible. It had a very funny, sweetly disgusting taste. It had a very strange taste. I could barely describe it. But for a week, they never complained. We never thought anything of it. We thought it was just the way it was here. On February 19th, the hotel employee climbed the roof and used a ladder to investigate the hotel's water storage tanks. That's where authorities found the decomposing naked body of Lamb, whose personal items were found nearby. After an autopsy, the death was labeled accidental.
Acidental. She was on acid.
Who knows, man? With this, yes, I've watched the videos on this and heard the stories on.
Yeah, well, the crazy part is, the tank had a metal latch, that could be opened from the outside, but it was locked. So somehow, she went in there and it got locked behind her, which is pretty impossible. But, this hotel also, had some strange residents. You might have heard of one
Ramirez?
Night Stalker Richard Ramirez.
Smell his breath from here.
Yeah, dude.
This is a sad story, and I feel like if she had wanted to kill herself, she could have like just jumped off the hotel or something. Like what need?
That would have
she
been more
to
convenient for everybody involved.
Go into the water. Yeah, man, I can't imagine finding out that you were staying at the hotel and that's remembering thinking back on the water and then finding out exactly what happened. Like, oh, I'd be sick to my stomach.
Well, she could have been killed as well too. She could have been like held at gunpoint and told to like strip down and get in the tank and then locked behind her.
I mean, aside from like the elevator footage and stuff, I would say that's exactly what happened, but who knows? I mean, she could have had some mental issues or maybe she was possessed. I don't know. Haunted by a demon.
She was microdosing.
That's a macro dose, Greg.
Microdosing gone wrong.
It's really, really, I mean, the video's weird as hell, obviously. Anyone who's seen it knows. I mean, if you've ever been to like a fish festival, you've met this person 100 times.
There's always one of them.
Yeah, but it's definitely sad for sure. And definitely spooky.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She was young too, wasn't she?
Yeah.
It's on Hulu or Netflix. They have a documentary on it as well, too.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the people who drank the tap water got some money out of this and sued. I hope so.
I think they got a free night stay at the hotel.
And they got a case of Poland Spring water. Honey, I think we're going to switch to Poland Spring tonight.
Who knows? Probably malaria too. Oh, that mosquito bite or something, doesn't it? I don't know. I'm sure this could get you sick, though.
Yeah, it's worse than Woodstock 99, drinking the shit.
All right.
All right.
I don't know which is worse.
All right, Seamus, go ahead, big guy.
This one is titled, It Wasn't a Little Girl. I was camping with my husband and his family at a small remote lake in New Mexico. There were about 10 people in our group and another group of 6 people in the next campsite. It was nighttime and both groups were doing typical activities, making s'mores, having a few drinks, and telling stories, when we all heard what sounded like a little girl yelling out for help. Neither group had children with them, but we were all positive we had heard a little girl and decided to search the area we heard the noises coming from. There was a field behind our campsites, and we all saw a very tall, pure white figure standing maybe 100 feet away from us in the field, making noises. We all agreed this thing looked maybe 6 feet tall, skinny, and white as can be. We made our way closer to investigate, but whatever it was that we saw started backing off as we got closer, and it disappeared into the trees. All night, we continued to hear a little girl calling for help as we tried to sleep. That's it.
Spoopy.
Help me. Help me.
I was going through some of these. I don't remember if we actually covered any of these, so if one of mine is like, you'd be like, we talked about that one. I don't know.
No one will know.
It's true. Except our one Patreon subscriber.
I thought we had 2.
We got 1.
No, sweet.
We lost one and gained one. Balance of the that Crust universe.
Hell yeah.
Lose a listener, gain a listener. We currently have 2 listeners.
We appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? The scariest part of that story is I fucking hate s'mores.
I didn't want to interrupt, but I was like, oh, this story sounds delicious.
What would have been terrifying is if the white figure was eating it with s'mores and had chocolate all over its white face.
Yeah,
Maybe
right?
It was a giant s'mores.
Don't bogart.
Marshmallow woman.
Yeah.
Don't bogart the s'mores, entity.
Hopefully she's single.
Nothing scarier than an adult who enjoys s'mores.
I don't know. Way back on a drunken night, I felt like I had this marshmallow girl once, and something like that.
All right, this one's called "Who's in My Bed" by the Butthole Surfers. A father went to say goodnight to his 7-year-old son, very well knowing that if he didn't, his son would have trouble sleeping. It was a nightly routine between them, so he entered the dimly lit room where his son waited under his blanket. With the first glance, the father could tell that there was something unusual about his son tonight, but couldn't put his finger upon it. He looked the same, but he had a grin that drew from ear to ear. "You okay, buddy?" the father asked. The son nodded, still with a grin, before saying, "Daddy, check for monsters under my bed." The father chuckled a bit before getting on his knees to check to satisfy his son. There under the bed, pale and afraid, was his son, his real son. He whispered, "Daddy, there's someone on my bed."
Sounds like that Peele movie.
Jordan Peele?
Yeah.
Us?
The doppelgangers, us, yeah.
Yeah.
Creepy.
What a riveting tale, Greg. Now let me tell you my own spooky story. The story begins during the Civil War around 1861, when a young Confederate soldier was captured and imprisoned at Fort Warren on George's Island in Boston.
Wicked pisser.
When no one would help the man's young wife get in touch with her husband, she decided to rescue him herself. Her name has been bandied around a lot, but most people say her name was Melanie Lanier. The legend is that she took the train up from Massachusetts, where she said to have stayed overnight in the hull with the island fort visible from the shore. The next day, she said to have dressed herself in men's clothing, caught a boat across the harbor island, and found her way into the fort. Although she was apparently able to free her husband from the cell during the escape attempt, they were caught. Rodinia said she attempted to shoot a soldier who was trying to intercept them, and instead the gun misfired and she killed her own husband.
Yikes.
The soldiers then discovered that she was a woman, and she was told she'd be executed as a spy. According to the locals, her last request, she was asked to be given a lady's dress to wear. She was executed by hanging, and 7 weeks later, soldiers saw in the freshly fallen snow the imprint of a lady's slipper across the grounds. The imprint led to nowhere.
It's unfortunate because the husband's last request was to keep his wife away from him.
People say specifically that a ghost still haunts the fortress, and unlike most ghost stories, she's said to be a very violent ghost. They say that when she's spotted, that she actually lashes out, and that people have experienced scratches and cuts and being pushed. She's a both angry and violent ghost.
Some say that she broke her husband out of jail just so she could kill that lazy bastard.
She sounds like she's from Massachusetts.
That's a woman going easy on a man in mass, let me tell you. I don't know if that's okay to say. We love you, Massachusetts. Everybody does.
Worked there for 12 years.
Love that for you.
So they're number one in education, I think, right now.
That's wicked pisser. It's called that dunks they drink, guy.
It must be something in that sugar coffee.
All right, Seamus, that brings us back to you. Give me something that's going to tingle my hairs.
You're short and curlies. It was late at night on a Saturday, and I was alone in my bedroom playing Xbox. I noticed that the door handle began to vibrate. I opened the door and looked out to find a quiet and empty hallway. My family was nearby, but their bedroom doors were closed, and they were most certainly asleep. No one could have been playing a trick on me. When I closed the door, the vibrations had stopped, but moments later they started back up again. I tried to go to sleep with the sheets pulled tightly over my head, and after a few minutes the vibrations stopped for good. Being only 10 years old, I was terrified. The next day I told my brother about the incident and the possibility that it was a ghostly encounter. He burst out laughing at me and revealed that the vibrations must have been caused by him furiously masturbating in the next room over. They stopped briefly when I opened the door because he wanted to avoid detection. The thought of my brother whacking it that hard was slightly more disturbing than being visited by a ghost.
Jean-Claude Van Hand.
Nice.
Got them good vibrations!
Absolutely. Must have had a good sesh.
I wonder how many paranormal encounters are really just some dude cranking it wicked hard.
Right, and like one of those flimsy apartment buildings, a multi-dwelling unit next door with like just a little sheetrock wall between you.
Thin walls, yeah. Should have bought a PlayStation.
It's true. Fuck. He came so hard that his brother got the red ring of death. What the fuck?
I was just going to say something about that.
Nice.
All right, Greg, what do you got for me?
All right, this one is called The Cabin. A hiker decided to go on a hike by himself, something he was not very used to. The whole day was normal. Trees and bushes engulfed the surroundings. He enjoyed being outdoors in the mountains. Nothing seemed strange to him. That was until he was making his way back to his car. He figured an 8-hour hike was good enough. Jesus, an 8-hour hike? God damn!
All right.
The sky was already getting dark and needed to get back, fast. What was odd was how much he didn't recognize the trail back. He began to panic. Night had already taken over, and all he had was a flashlight and no clue on how to get back. He knew it was already too late and too dangerous to keep going through the perilous forest. He began to worry that he would have no shelter for the night, when almost luckily enough, he stumbled across a broken-down cabin. It was dark, and it seemed like no one had visited in years, but he knew it was the only place where he could rest until daylight, especially since his flashlight was running out of battery. He knocked on the door a few times, but no one answered, so he let himself in, where, strangely enough, a perfect bed fitted for one person awaited him in the center. He knew that if the owner came back, he could explain himself. He was sure that the owner wouldn't mind, or was even probably dead. So he went ahead, got himself comfortable in bed. As he tried to sleep, he couldn't ignore the collections of paintings around the room. Portraits of strange-looking people all peering at him, each wearing a smile that sent chills up his spine. Not too long after his exhaustion from the hike got the best of him, he was able to ignore the faces and get some sleep. The next morning, he got up early and was shocked to see that there was no paintings around the room, but only windows.
Fuck.
Wow. I mean, I totally would have flipped the paintings around or something.
Right? Hey, how come I can't? Oh, shit. Yeah, then you would have known. You would have been horrified.
Or just get the hell out of there. But now I want this line of paintings in my home.
Right.
It's not in the bedroom.
Why haven't we learned to stop going out in the woods yet? I mean, did Blair Witch teach us nothing?
Hey, you recently got lost in the woods for hours, so
Bro, I
I'm
know.
lucky to have you back.
I know. Luckily, I had a fucking dog that ripped my arm off every 5 seconds. That was fun. That's creepy as shit, Greg, you know? That's why I don't go to museums, you know?
This is why you don't break in other people's homes and sleep in their beds.
It's true. And this brings us
I mean,
right
that's
back
creepy in itself.
brings us right back to Goldilocks, doesn't it? It all comes back to Goldilocks.
Just right.
Well, I guess that's back at me then, eh, boys?
Mm.
All right.
Well,
This one's pretty spoopy too, so get ready, all right?
spoop on it.
Yeah, bro. The short tale begins benignly enough, with a friendly seeming ghost playing with children. But when you learn the origins of the ghost and just why the ghost is moving objects around the room, it quickly gets a lot creepier.
Did you say a seaman ghost
It's
or a steaming ghost? Like Casper the seaman ghost, or like a captain on a ship ghost?
there's no semen involved, Seamus.
He is just a big glob of semen, huh? Yeah, Casper.
We all are. I mean, technically, we're all big
That's-
globs of semen.
This is
They call them the big drip in castles.
When my sister Betsy and I were kids, our family lived for a while in a charming old farmhouse. Also, while we're on it, why do people live in farmhouses? Crazy.
If they want to
Scary.
raise serial killer children, I don't know.
This is true.
We loved exploring its dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. But our favorite thing was the ghost. We called her Mother because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings, Betsy and I would wake up, and each of our nightstands we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty during the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the home's original furnishings was an antique wooden chair, which we kept against the back wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch the chair forward across the room towards us. Sometimes she managed to move it all the way to the center of the room. We always felt sad putting it back against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we'd moved out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse's original occupant, a widow. She murdered her 2 children by giving them each a cup of poisoned milk before bed. Then she hung herself. The article included a photo of the farmhouse's living room, with a woman's body hanging from a beam. Beneath her, knocked over, was an old wooden chair, placed exactly in the center of the room. What?
Oh,
Ah,
Was there anything in the cups?
I don't fucking know.
semen. It was semen. Ectoplasm.
Certainly a scary tale, guys, all right? Let's not make light of how harrowing these situations were for people.
It's true.
But did they die?
But, by all accounts, it seems as though they're still alive, Seamus.
Well, not the originals.
Ooh, they're copies.
Well, no, she poisoned her children, right?
Making
the legends
copies.
That's what I call when I jerk off. Making copies of semen.
Wow. All right.
I was driving across country with my mom and sister when I was 16 and my sister was 20. It was late, but we were well rested, still and alert. We were driving along an interstate and needed gas and a bathroom break. So we stopped at the only rest stop in 200 miles. There was a van full of teenagers on a road trip at the gas station, as well as a small gray car parked at the pump in front of us with two young men standing still outside of it. When we got there, everything felt wrong. We'd been on the road for days and seen many rest stops at night and had never been afraid until then. My mom and sister went inside and I stayed in the car. I heard the teenagers say they were creeped out and couldn't get the pump to work, and they left in a hurry. I was watching the car in front of us, and the two men had not moved at all, not an inch. They weren't talking, they weren't on phones, they were just standing there still as stone. My sister and mom came running back out of the car, and when they got in, the two men slowly turned to look at us while not moving or pivoting the rest of their bodies. And I swear to fucking shit, we all saw the same thing. They had our eyes dark as pitch and empty. Truly empty, not black, not reflecting any light at all, just a void. We sped out of there and didn't stop until we were in the next city. The worst thing about the entire experience? We couldn't find the place on any map. We knew exactly which spot on the interstate to look, and we couldn't find it on Google Maps or any paper map we had. We even asked locals about the creepy gas station out on that stretch of road and got only confused looks. We've traveled on that interstate since, and there is no rest stop.
Fuck, I hate rest stops.
Yeah, find a creepy ghost trucker.
Yeah, a lot of bad shit goes down at rest stops.
Ready to fill you with his ectoplasm.
It's either shitty or cummy. Which one do you want?
That's all we offer.
Here on You Gotta Eat That Crust podcast, you have two choices. Shit, cum, or dick. Maybe that's three.
Do you want the
Two are
shit or the
connected.
cum? Like Joseph Callinger. He likes to cum in his shit.
Did he?
Yeah, he peed on his cum, or he shit on his cum, or he did something like that.
We don't kink shame here.
All right. This one is called the red wristband. A doctor was working at a hospital where patients were tagged with colored bands. Green equaled alive, red equaled deceased. One night, the doctor was instructed to get a few supplies from the basement of the hospital, and so he headed to the lift. The lift doors opened, and there was a patient inside, minding her own business. Patients were allowed to roam around the hospital to stretch, especially those who had stayed long. The rule was to be back in the rooms before 10. The doctor smiled at the patient before pressing the number for the basement. He found it unusual that the woman didn't have a button already pressed. He wondered if she was heading to the basement too. The lift finally reached the floor where the doors opened. In the distance, a man was limping towards the elevator, and in a panic, the doctor slammed the elevator button to close. It finally did, and the lift began to ascend back up, the doctor's heart pounding. Why did he do that? He was trying to use the lift, the woman stated, annoyed. Did you see his wrist? The doctor asked. It was red. He died last night. I know it because I did his surgery. The woman lifted her wrist. He saw red. She smiled. Like this one?
Oh, shit.
Only the deceased get the red wrist band?
Yeah. Yeah.
The red wristband of death?
See, nice. Yeah. Yep. The Xbox factory.
Wow.
Afterlife where there's no Sony PlayStation, only Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary. Scary stuff, guys. Woo. You feel that autumn wind just settling in your bones?
Beautiful out there.
I mean, everyone considers New England like the creepiest, most paranormal place on Earth.
It's because the original colonies,
I think it's just because it's cold.
right?
We're cold. We're bored.
We just equate that with ghosts.
Cold does things to your mind and body.
It does. Well, we all saw The Shining.
Right?
It was probably cold there.
I hate being cold.
It's very cold there.
Fuck New England. But we got pretty leaves.
We got great white mountains.
They're white mountains. They're not the Great White Mountains.
I said we have great white mountains.
Well, I like all various colors of mountains because I'm woke.
I don't see color.
The Green Mountains of Iceland.
All right, so Jeff, a resident of Dayton, Ohio.
My name's Jeff.
Is Ohio real? Have you met anyone from Ohio ever?
I mean, I've been there a few times.
No, you haven't.
Drew Carey's from Ohio.
It was all just a fever dream.
So Jeff, anyway, he was driving with his 3-year-old son, Miles, in the back seat when they passed by a modest cemetery decorated with only flowers and small plaques. It basically looks like a garden, Jeff explains. According to Jeff, as they drove by, his toddler, who'd been happily singing, abruptly stopped, pointed at the cemetery and exclaimed, "Look at all those people." Jeff turned to look, but he didn't see a soul. Confused, he asked Miles what he was talking about. "All those people over there. There sure are a lot of grandmas." As Jeff tells it, chills ran down his spine. As he asked his son what the people were doing, they're all standing there, looking down at the grass, Miles said.
They're playing paddleboard. Or they're playing pickleball.
Completely unsettled by the conversation, Jeff sped up and drove home. Later the same day, he says his young son was watching TV when he turned to Jeff and said, "You know, they weren't alive." Thinking Miles was referring to the cartoon, Jeff asked what he meant. "Those people we saw, they were all paused," his son replied. "I didn't know if my kid had a sixth sense or if he just has a wild imagination."
Haley Joel.
It's always a creepy kid.
It is always, kids are creepy, bro.
Kids are creepy. I mean, if you're a horror movie director and you haven't used the creepy kid yet,
What are you doing?
do yourself a favor.
Are you even living?
The 126 line goes through the city from one side and ends up on another. It's a long route, but no one knows why they used old ran-down buses. There were reports of accidents and deaths. If one is unlucky enough to catch that bus at night, especially the last ride, they may find themselves being driven by a ghost driver and serviced by a ghost conductor. There's this guy who caught the last bus to get home from a party. There were only a few passengers since it was late. He noticed the bus was going slower than normal, but since it's an old bus, he thought nothing of it and fell asleep from all the drinking. When he woke up a moment later, there was no one on the bus, not even a driver. The air conditioner had stopped working and he was sweating in the heat. He looked out the window. It was dark, not many cars on the road, but it looked like the bus was still moving, though at a very slow pace, and no sound of the engine. That's when he remembered the story of the last 126 bus of the night. Is he on a ghost bus? He looked around inside the bus again, still no one. He ran from side to side of the bus, banging on the window, screaming for help, hoping someone would see him. Then he felt the bus come to a slow stop. He waited anxiously, not sure what would happen next. Then a man in the driver uniform opened the door. The man looked all wet and dirty, walked towards him angrily. The fear kicked in. He screamed louder. The man then shouted at him to shut up! He's about to cry, but the man continued. "Good, you're awake. The engine died. We're all outside trying to push the bus to the curb. Come help. Make yourself useful, you pisshead."
I've never been called a pisshead before.
Right.
I gotta use that.
I would get serviced by a ghost conductor.
Generation or two before us, it was probably a common insult. It was insulting, but not bad enough that you would have to duel someone over.
Aha!
If you called someone a son of a bitch, then them's fighting word, and you had to like get out swords or pistols or something. But if you're just a pisshead and you're drunk and you're just gonna shake it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it off.
It's a Taylor Swift song, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Taylor Swift, bro, not to get off topic, but I was watching this show, The Grotesquerie or whatever the fuck on FX, I think it's whatever. It's on Hulu or whatever the fuck. And the first 2 episodes, really good. I was like, oh, the show's pretty fucking cool. Brutal murders. And then fucking Travis Kelce, whatever the fuck his name is, shows up.
Kelce.
Dude, he's the biggest piece of shit, worst actor I've ever seen in anything in my entire life. His opening line in the show is, "Why, good morning there, sassy pants." The show took I can't even watch it anymore. It got
He's
so
getting
bad.
his own show, and he's like going to be like starring in a movie coming up.
Why do we care about him?
I
Because
don't know,
he's
he's a
fucking Taylor
goofball.
Swift?
Got horrible fashion.
Yeah, he's got his own cereals now, Kelchie Flakes or whatever the fuck.
Kelsey.
Who cares? All right.
So traveling around on planes with my leggy bay.
As soon as Taylor Swift writes an album about how he broke her heart, nobody's gonna care anymore.
My leggy bay.
He was in Connecticut recently. He was playing golf at the TPC golf course, which I think is a private course, of course.
Of course.
And he was raving about Neil's Donuts in Wallingford. They are some banging donuts. So
himself and his brother's podcast are like one of the number one podcasts in the world.
yeah,
I think
I've never listened to it, but I don't. He owes it. They owe it to T Swift.
That's right.
Well, they were popular before T Swift, but obviously T Swift, upped his fame a lot.
I mean, Travis, less donuts. You need to perform on the field. Get your shit together.
Yeah, stop acting.
Taylor only dates pristine top alphas.
He's one of the best tight ends of all time.
He is. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Travis Kelce.
I'm just saying, he's having his worst year ever. I think.
Oh, is it?
They're still winning.
Hopefully he can shake it off.
That's right.
All right, this one is called White with Red. A man just moved into an apartment and heads to the receptionist to get his keys. The receptionist gave him the key with a smile, but warns him not to disturb the door with no number on his floor. He wondered why, but didn't bother to ask. He was too busy with his new apartment to care. After he finished unpacking, he began to get curious. He questioned why the receptionist would warn him of such things. And so he stepped out of his apartment to check the door with no number. He tried the doorknob first, but it was locked. So instead, he got onto his knees and peeked through the keyhole. The apartment he was looking to was empty. His eye scanned the whole place before stopping at a woman, standing face against a wall in the corner. He noticed her pale skin and long black hair before stepping back suddenly, feeling perverted in a way for invading someone else's privacy.
She turned around and had s'mores all over her face.
Ooh, delicious. It said he brushed it off, but I'm going to say he shook it off. He shakes it off, assuming she was someone that did not want to be disturbed. The next day, he got more curious about the woman and eventually went back. Straight away, getting onto his knees, he peeked through the keyhole and saw all red. Red. He assumed that the pale woman must have caught him peeking last time and covered the hole with something red. He left the door alone and instead went down to the receptionist to ask her questions. The receptionist sighed and asked, "You looked through the keyhole, didn't you?" He admitted it, and she felt obliged to tell him the story. She told him that a couple used to live in the apartment a long time ago, but the husband went crazy and killed his wife. However, this couple wasn't normal. They had pale skin, black hair, and red eyes.
Voices from the Mausoleum is your one-stop shop for everything horror. Join host Scott and Angel as they deep dive into all things horror. From movies, TV shows, books, and video games. Nobody is safe. Batten down the hatches, lock your doors, and listen to Voices from the Mausoleum. Another podcast brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network.
Damn.
So she was looking at
Looking
him.
through the keyhole.
Ugh.
So she has no iris.
Sung
No,
by the
people-
Google Dolls.
I don't know.
Google Dolls.
This is a double peeping Tom tale.
Yeah.
When Marty was a child back in the 90s, she was a fan of ventriloquist, Edward Bergen and his dummy sidekick, Charlie McCarthy. She says when her father came across the ventriloquist doll as he wandered through a small magic shop located outside of Santa Rosa, California, he decided to buy it for her birthday. While ringing up the sale, Marty says the cashier gave her father weird vibes and said to him, "You know, when you put your hand inside the doll, he's going to come alive." Laughing off the comment, "Ha ha 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 ha."
Come on, a fist, my doll.
Dead silence.
He brought the dummy home to his daughter. According to Marty, she was over the moon when her dad gave her the doll, saying, "I was so happy when I got that doll. I was obsessed." But before long, strange things began happening. Though impossible because the doll's head was made of hard plastic, she said his expression would change, including his smile. Worried something would happen to her precious dummy, Marty's family shut it away in a cupboard most nights. One night, she and her family were awakened by the pitter-patter of steps in their living room. Thinking it was the dog or another family member, they went to look. No one was there, except for the doll, who was sitting on the couch. Remember specifically, we always put it away because I loved that doll so much, and I took care of it. Other strange occurrences began happening. While Marty and her dad were away, her uncle was alone in the house. The uncle says he heard Marty's father calling his name from the living room, even though he wasn't home. When he went to look, he found the doll once again sitting on the couch, and no one else. All our family was pretty much scared of the doll, Marty says. People would start hearing their names being called. We would hear walking at night, so we decided we needed to get rid of it. Being Mexican and religious, Marty says her parents wanted to burn the doll in case it was demonic. They put it on the grill, and according to Marty, it wouldn't burn. This doll would not go up in flames at all.
She's a witch! She's a witch!
They tried cutting up with a knife, but they were unsuccessful. Finally, they threw it in a trash can. After the garbage was collected, Marty's dad went to retrieve the bin. In it, the doll. To rid themselves of the dummy, they dug a hole in the backyard and filled that shit with cement. Marty and his family have long since moved away, but she says they still think about the doll and a possibility that eventually it finds one of us.
It will follow. Doll follows.
That's Ryan's favorite movie.
Also following it.
Nice. These mischievous spirits need to get original and stop messing with dolls.
Yeah, I agree. What about G.I. Joes, you know?
Right.
Way doper than a doll.
I would love to have my G.I. Joe just doing the strut. Hello, my baby. Hello, my dog.
So I think we can take 3 important lessons away from this podcast so far. Don't buy a farmhouse, all right? Don't go to the woods, and stop buying ventriloquist dolls.
Stop buying people's used dolls. They belong in the trash.
Exactly. All dolls. Sex dolls included. Inflatable, robotic.
More so those ones, but yes, even a harmless doll is smothered in germs. Children are gross and dirty, and their dolls are even dirtier than they are.
Everybody's gross and dirty.
Public service announcement. Throw the doll away.
They tried that, Seamus.
That's true. They did. But the original owner should have burned it then.
I say buy a boat, go to the ocean, tie a cinder block around the doll, throw that shit in the ocean.
And then you get arrested under suspicions and spend months in court battles.
All right, Seamus, hit me, baby, one more time.
All right, the last one. When I was 37, I went to my high school reunion. I flew into the nearest airport and rented a car. The distance was about 35 miles through a very rural and almost abandoned part of the country. About 3 miles outside of town, I see someone on the side of the road flagging me down. It turned out that it was one of the guys I had attended high school with. Jim gets into the car and we start talking. I had not seen him in 20 years, but he still looked the same, maybe a little older. We get to town and I ask him if he wants to come to the VFW and have a drink. He says, no, just take me home. Jim's parents had lived only a few blocks from my grandmother's house, and I turned in that direction, but he said to take him to the outskirts of town. There was a mobile home park out there, and I figured that was where he lived. When we reached the end of the turnoff, he said, just drop me here. It was good to see you again, and proceeds to walk off into the night. I go to the VFW, met some of my old classmates. We start to talk. As we are talking about who is coming to the reunion, I mentioned that I just picked up Jim 3 miles east of town and had dropped him off. Everyone gets quiet. Even the guy singing karaoke stops and lays down the mic. My cousin gets white as a new t-shirt. Barb, Jim died on that curve 8 years ago, rolled his car. We were all at his funeral, I was told. I started to feel dizzy, and I went out to the car to take some deep breaths. There on the seat is the local newspaper, printed 8 years previous, containing Jim's obituary. I still have the paper.
Tell him Large Marge sent you.
Perfect. You was playing at that VFW that night. It was follically challenged, dude. Hey, God bless America.
Their God Bless America debut.
It's so smoky in here.
Never pick up hitchhikers, even if you know them. Every hitchhiker wants to murder you.
Never hitchhike and never pick them up.
To recap, no farmhouses, stay out of the woods, don't buy ventriloquist dummies, don't pick up hitchhikers. I feel like this is scary, like Scream, and I'm giving you the rules. These are rules to live by, though. All right, Greg, hit us with one last spoopy tale.
All right, this is a short one. It's called A Mother's Call. A daughter was in her room upstairs doing her homework when suddenly she heard her mother call to come down for dinner. She jumped onto her feet and began making her way towards the stairs. But before she even took a step, hands grabbed her and pulled her into the laundry room beside the staircase. She panicked before realizing it was her mother, her real mother. Eyes watery and bloodshot, her mother said, "Don't go down there, honey. I heard it too." The end.
I thought we were going like into a Bang Brothers scenario at first.
Don't worry, honey. Let's fuck.
I'm stuck in the dryer again.
Honey, we're gonna make two things: shit or cum. Take your pick.
Okay, how about both?
Hey, you know? All right, so to recap one last time, folks, don't buy ventriloquist dummies. Don't buy farmhouses. Don't go in the woods. Don't do the laundry. All right? Rules to live by. Don't pick up hitchhikers. You're going to die. Jim's going to kill you.
I can do laundry.
That.
Jim would never do that.
I feel like all of our listeners are going to live long, healthy lives now.
I just want to say about Jim. Last time I saw him, he was in the bar, and he had like 4 buttons on his shirt undone. And I don't even say hi. I just walk up to him and I go, 4 buttons, huh? He just looked so uncomfortable. All of a sudden, he just started slowly buttoning up his shirt.
Who's Jim?
Jim Dozette.
I told my wife, and she's like, "Why are you like this?"
I just like to make people uncomfortable.
That doesn't sound like anything Jim would have done years ago.
Well, you know.
Have you seen his chest hair?
It's pretty immaculate.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
And he played at the Country Music Awards. So once you do shit like that, you go 4 buttons. Pre-Country Music Awards, just 2.
I'm not really into chest hair.
Jim is a talented motherfucker.
I don't have much chest hair. My body hair is very sporadic. It looks like I was in a fire. All right. Well,
you look like an alopecia gorilla.
All right. That wraps up our spoopy tales. Now stay tuned for other shit.
Shouldn't go.
All right, Greg, I have the impression that you wanted to do some sort of game with us.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were going to play the game or just do the impressions for the audience. What do you guys think? Do you guys want to compete against each other, or would you like to just do impressions for fun?
Don't give us the choice. Whatever.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
right.
You guys are in full competition then. This is the impression game with a spoopy twist. I've taken some horror villains and added some flair to it. Quotes from these horror villains.
You guys do know spoopy means scary and funny, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyways, just
Shit on my cum. I guess you learn something new every day.
that's why in my intro I'm like scary and spoopy ghost stories.
They're
That's
all
great.
spoopy, baby. It's all spoopy, baby.
Anyways, I just thought I would let it be known.
Yep, it's goopy and spoopy. Okay, so the first one is going to be Ghostface. And the line is, "Hey, Sydney, would you like to play a game?" Ryan.
Hey, Cindy, would you like to play a game? I'm the worst horror fucking villain out of the entire fucking world of villains. Cindy.
I didn't even know who Ghostface was until you said it, the Hey Sydney part.
Really?
I never cared about the Scream movies.
Bro, he sucks.
I like Ghostface.
Anyways, what was the line?
Hey, Sydney, would you like to play a game?
Hey, Sydney, would you like to play a game?
Fuck.
See what's under my robe?
Yeah. I mean, you had it at the beginning, but then you just elevated it again. So that first point goes to Seamus.
I agree.
All right. Do you guys know who Freddy Krueger is?
Yeah, he's the funniest villain.
Okay. So the line is, "You forgot about the power glove. Hey, I beat my high score." Seamus, take this one first.
You forgot about the power glove. I beat off my high score.
You forgot about the power glove. Hey, I beat my high score.
I gotta go with Seamus on that one as well. All right, the next one is Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Oh, you'll float. We all float down here. Ryan?
You float. We all float down here.
Oh, you'll float. We all float down here.
Yeah, it's Seamus.
I knew he was gonna kill that. That's why I didn't even try, bro.
Let's get some effort here. Let's get some effort. This is for the audience, okay? All right. The next one is one of my favorites. The Hell Priest himself or herself, depending which one you watch or which you read. Pinhead. The box. You opened it. We came. Now you must come with us and taste the pleasures. Seamus.
The box. You opened it. Now you must taste the pain, pleasure, whatever.
I don't remember the line. It's the box. You opened it. We came. Now you must come with us and taste the pleasures.
The box. You opened it. Now you must taste the pain and the pleasure of my box. Never ends.
You don't like the taste. You don't like the smell, right? Stevie. Ryan.
The box. You opened it. We came. Now you must taste the pain. Law! We have such sights to show you.
All right. That one goes to Ryan.
You can write it, does. I'm back, baby. Like Ghostface 7 times.
So just to recap with the audience, the score is Seamus leading with 3 and Ryan with 1. But it's we still got some questions, or we got some impressions to go. All right, Seamus might have a leg up because he's already done this one. This one is Beetlejuice. I'm the ghost with the most, babe. Seamus.
I'm the ghost with the most, babe. Lydia, marry me.
The ghost with the most, babe. And Alec Baldwin, maybe don't fire that gun.
Oh, go with Seamus. Seamus is running away with this one.
Yes, I'm podcaster with the most, babes.
This one is from the movies. Mr. Hannibal Lecter himself. Well, Clarice, had the lamb stopped screaming? Ryan?
Well, Clarice, has the lamb stopped screaming?
Seamus.
Well, Clarice, have the lambs stopped screaming?
They were both great, actually. I'm going to go with Ryan's going to get the point on that. All right?
It's all happening.
Score, Seamus 4, Ryan 2.
It's all movies I haven't seen in like so many years.
I know. I think that's why I kind of try to give you guys a heads up so you could watch all those movies in one day.
I don't remember you telling me any of these.
Well, I didn't say. I just said we were doing a horror villain impression.
Oh, so yeah, I was just supposed to watch like every movie that's been before.
You were supposed to YouTube all the villains that could possibly be.
Gotcha.
This one, probably one of the greatest actors of all time. Talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula, Dracula himself. I have crossed oceans of time to find you. I think it's Shane.
I have crossed oceans of time to find you. 1 stinky dinky, 2 streaky dinkies, 3 stinky dinkies.
Nice.
Oh, it wasn't Count Chocula or Count from Sesame Street?
It is spoopy, so that's funny and scary. Ryan, go.
I don't even remember the line. It's stinky dinky, and then that's all I know.
I have crossed oceans of time to find you.
And this is Gary Oldman, right?
This is Gary Oldman himself. Drexler.
I've crossed oceans of time to find you. It must be White Boy Day. It ain't White Boy Day, is it, Monty? It ain't White Boy Day.
Oh, only at P. Diddy's parties.
Hey. All right, we got a couple more. Seamus is running away with this 5-2. We got Chucky. Hi, I'm Chucky, and we're friends to the end. Seamus.
Hi, I'm Buddy. We're buddies and me. Hi, I'm Chucky, and we're friends till the end. Hi, I'm Chucky. Hi, I'm Chucky.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Want to play?
Is it me?
It's you.
Hold on, I'm not done. Oh, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Chucky. I'm your friend to the end. Want to play, bitch? Okay, Dewey Dumbella, give me the power I beg of you.
Okay, all right. Ryan's coming back with that one. I got 2 more, so Ryan needs to get these both to tie it. Give me your best Leatherface.
Hello, chaps. It's me, Leatherface. You may have noticed I don't talk much, and it's because I find it to be important to not speak unless you have something important to say. Now, please stop frying that lice on the top of your head, brother, and help me with this body.
I'm Leatherface, and we have my memory suit.
It's going to Bobcat Seamus for that one.
Bob Leatherface Goldthwait.
All right, and the last question, last impression. It's a bonus impression. Mr. Jason Voorhees. He doesn't have a voice, but if he did, you have to make up your own. Camp Crystal Lake is mine. Stay or else. Ryan.
Hey, y'all. It's me, Jason. In case you didn't know, Camp Crystal Lake is mine. All right, so what you're going to want to do, you're not going to have unprotected sex here, all right? You're not going to partake in drug usage in here, all right? Because I will wrap you up in your sleeping bag and smash against a goddamn tree. All right, you guys have a great night now.
What was the line?
Camp Crystal Lake is mine. Stay or else. Or stay away or else. Sorry, I looked up that part.
Camp Crystal Lake is mine. Stay away or else.
Man.
That's my Gorsk.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'm going to give that one to Ryan. But the winner of the second annual impression game, Mr. Seamus Rogers himself, with a score of 6-4.
Hey, I'm Chucky.
Well, Seamus must have thought it was White Boy Day. Greg, is it White Boy Day?
It is White Boy Day. Come.
Shit. Piss. Farts.
Shit, blood, and cum on my hands.
Ah!
White guys are into weird shit.
Goddamn, Maynard, you're weird.
All right. Well, we want to thank everybody for listening. You're all beautiful, beautiful people. Big shout out to our Patreon supporter, Kate. We appreciate your support. Obviously, we're running with the You Run Podcast Network. We're repping that shit. We got the Dewey Pod Monsters. We got the Pop Culture Reflections. We got the Voices from the Mausoleum. We get all that shit, all right? So check that shit out.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Obviously, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Pod, YouTube. If you want to join our Patreon and get some early episodes, we're on Anchor, and we appreciate that. We rep the You Run Podcast Network. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Please give us your 8 crust reviews, and we'll see you next time.
All right. And remember, everybody, no matter how cold or spooky it is around here, there's one thing to always keep in mind, and that is,
We trust.
We trust. This ends our podcast. I wonder how many paranormal encounters are really just some dude breaking it wicked high.
1 stinky dinky, 2 stinky dinky,
Three stinky dinkies.